All right, we're back. Let me share two groups. 1 second. Okay, we're back. We have our very happy model here who just got a bath, and he's really not sure about life right now. But we're gonna go ahead and get him dried. So due to the noise, I don't know that I'll be able to answer anything until the end, but if you have any questions, I'll try to get them answered. So let me move this so I can see what's going on here. This is a very high-tech setup, so. Okay. So he's been towel dried really good. I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of mist him with a spray. It's kind of like a conditioning spray. It's really nice for brushing and hair maintenance. So this is Artero mix spray. It smells amazing, and it's just kind of like a light conditioner. And when I go to fluff them out too, I usually spray some of that on there too. So, all right, so I'm gonna start with a force dryer. Some people prefer not to use a force dryer and just use a stand dryer. That's fine. I typically force dry every dog until it's like 90% dry and finish with the the fluff dryer. So I'm gonna go ahead and start this. It's probably gonna be loud, so fair warning. Point out really quick, while I dry, you'll see that I don't go all over like this. I stick to one section and I use the stream of air to kind of help straighten each section of hair from the root. So if you go like this all over, it's just going to whip the hair around and make knots. So just stick to one section and use that airflow to help separate each patch of hair. And you can also, be checking the skin as you go for any injuries or bumps or lumps or anything like that. So just go slow, go sections, and you'll dry the dog a lot quicker and make your brushing a lot easier if you do it this way as opposed to just the frantic, blowing everywhere. So I'm going to start this back up. For someone who asked, this is the Artero dryer, force dryer. I don't know that it's available in the United States yet, but they're really cool and they're digital, and it's really fun. So. So you can see that didn't take very long because we used the microfiber towel to kind of suck a lot of that water out before we started drying. And so, and just using the method of starting in one area and just slowly moving forward is really efficient for saving time. You can definitely use a handheld dryer if you want. You can use a stand dryer if you want instead of using the force dryer. It doesn't, sorry, we had an Amber Alert. It doesn't really matter. However you want to get the dog dry, it doesn't matter. But I will say that prep work is the most important part of the entire groom. So if you skip or you go too fast through this part and don't do a thorough job, then you can't get a good scissor finish on the dog because the hair is not prepared properly. So this is the most important part, the bath and the blow dry, for everything, for maintenance, for scissoring, for everything. So don't skimp on this part. Now I'm just going to finish him with a stand dryer and fluff every part of him out. Let me see if I can move this so I'm not in the way of the camera. I am right-handed and I like to have the dryer on the right, so let's see how I can do this. Maybe I'll go on the other side. Logistics of home grooming. So before I start, I'm just gonna, again, mist him with the conditioning spray because it makes it really nice to work on. And you'll notice too when I was force drying his head, you never want to blow the air right into their eyes. So when I'm drying the top of the head, I blow the air this way to dry the hair on top of his head without blowing the hair or the air right into his face. When I do the ears, I always make sure that I'm kind of pinching the ear, not pinching, but putting my fingers here so I'm not blowing air right into his ear canal. My fingers are going to block that. And then for the rest of the face, I blow up this way. I'll blow forward, but you never want to direct the hair right into the eyeballs. It doesn't feel very nice, I'm sure. So, all right, just gonna mist them all over. And if I get to any spots that are kind of matted or sticky, you can just hit that particular spot with a spray too to help. So, I'm gonna turn this guy on. This dryer, I don't know if you can see, I'll move it. It is the, I don't know if it's Schernbau, I think it's Schernbau. I got it from Pedigree, and it's super cool. And it has adjustable airflow, adjustable heat, and it's a really cool dryer. I really like it a lot. The spray is Artero Mix, and it's a conditioning spray. All right, so same thing, just have a system. I usually start with the back leg. So just starting at the toe, be careful, never pick the legs up higher than is comfortable for the dog. You don't want to just jerk that leg up in the air because they have a range of motion you have to respect. And you want it to be comfortable for them, so never manipulate their limbs in a direction that they don't naturally move. So starting at his toe, I'm just going to only brush where that heat is hitting. You never want to just dry the dog and then just brush the hair out without using air. You want to use the heat to help you stretch out every little strand of hair. I can't remember if he's one of my dogs that lays down, so we're going to try it. I try to teach my dogs to lay down for drying if they're comfortable doing it because it makes it a lot easier if they just relax. And it's easier to get into these little tight spaces. Just moving my way forward, I start with the back leg always. Very gentle through his groin area. Alright, so he's not all the way like that anymore. And then just go piece by piece. So I brush out a section, and then add a little bit more hair as I go. And if you develop a pattern, then you'll be a lot more time efficient. If you just kind of, it doesn't matter what order you do it, just always do it the same. And that way you'll get a much more thorough and fast dry and brush up. People are always like, wow, you can get a dog really dried really, really quickly. How do you do it? This is how. Just have a system and make your job easier. Starting at the toes, I like to brush up. I do leave the dog slightly damp, not a lot. Just about, again, I'm about 90% dry. And then use heat to straighten every hair out and completely dry them. Always make sure you check the armpits. This is where mats like to hide. And again, I'm just lifting his leg up to where it's comfortable. Don't pull it out to the side really far, like this. Just what's comfortable for him. And again, if you have a dog, which I haven't really been good about teaching this one, if you have a dog, or you have your own dog, just try to teach them to lay on their side, like this, because it makes your job a whole lot easier. He's not terrible about it, but he's not really happy about it either, so. And this is a really good angle to get those armpit knots. You have to lay over for you like this. So if you're getting a new puppy or you have your own dog, if you teach them to lay like this, it makes things so much easier. Do I use a slicker when fluff drying? I do. I love this slicker. It's my favorite brush in the entire world. It's, surprise, made by Artero, but I use it on just about everything. If the dog has really fragile hair, you can use a softer brush, or you can use a thin brush. But for the most part, I use a slicker gently on most coats. Alright, so that whole side is dry now, so we're going to just go ahead and flip them over. Go to the next side. Alright. Same thing. You can see he's got kind of knots up in his armpit. So this way, by letting him lay over, I can really get those armpits brushed out without having to struggle and fight with him and jab my brush up into his armpit blindly. And then just brush the whole way. Never, ever, ever demat with a comb. Do all of your brushing and dematting with a brush. Combs are for finishing, not for dematting. Got a little bit of a tangle right there, so just a little bit more spray. Make sure you get between his toes. There's usually some knots like coming out between toes, so just gently kind of brush the toe area. You can see he's got a little bit of a knot right there too. He likes to go out and play in the yard, and he's an agility dog, so he's very active and athletic, and sometimes he likes to wear sticks and fur in the yard. All right. A tender area, be careful when you're doing around their belly and their groin. It can be a little ticklish and sensitive, so you don't want to go ripping through there. But pay special attention to their loin or their tuck-up area, which is, you know, right in front of their stifle. This is another area that tends to accumulate some knots, so you want to make sure that you are really thorough in getting that area out. Be very gentle. It's very delicate skin right there. And then be careful too. If you're working on an intact male dog, obviously they have their testicles back there, and you don't want to be aiming the heat right at their testicles. They're kind of on the outside of their body for a reason, and if you plan on breeding with your dog, you don't want to be blowing that heat at their testicles because that can cause some problems. So just something to keep in mind. Always be mindful of the dog as an individual and adjust accordingly. But be careful of their private areas there. You don't want to cause problems for them down the road by blowing heat straight at them. And you always want to make things comfortable for the dog. So you can see he wanted to get up, so I just kind of let him do what's comfortable. I want this to be an enjoyable, or as enjoyable as it can, not make it a torture session for him. So just kind of work within the bounds of your dog's comfort. Tail. He's got a very long tail. So when they have very long tails, start at the ends. Don't just go ripping through from root to tip. Start at the ends and then work your way up. And this way the tail will stay nice and long and not be too damaged from just ripping through it. So just like if you have really long hair yourself, you always want to start at the ends to get the tangles out. You notice I'm brushing against my own hand. A lot of us, this is a no-brainer, but try not to brush against their own skin. Just try to brush against your own skin to get those knots out. If you go over one area of skin repeatedly with the brush, you will make a sore. You'll make a brush burn. It's not very comfortable for anybody. So when you can, just keep changing direction, change the direction you're brushing. You have a really knotted spot, say on a leg or something, you know, brush this way, then brush this way, then brush that way. Don't keep brushing the one spot like this over and over. Alright, so his body is pretty much brushed out. Now we're going to do his head and neck. Like we're getting this all over right here. Okay. Come here, buddy. Come here, buddy. Generally, I start with the back of the neck first and move forward. So same thing, just start at a section and gradually move your way forward. This is sort of a version of line brushing, where I'm using my hand to kind of part a section of hair, brushing that area, and then moving my hand forward so a little bit more hair slips out as I go. So that way I know that I'm brushing each strand of hair completely straight down to the root and getting any little tangles or pin knots out. And this is the secret to a great scissor finish. If you don't brush the hair completely straight, then you're not going to get as good of a result. So this is the most important step of the entire process. And your brush makes a difference too. You have to find a brush that works for you, works on the coat type. There's a lot of different brushes out there, so you gotta find one that you like. But just make sure that you're able to get down to the skin and brush every little section of hair. As I get up to his head, I'll start behind the ear. This is another area we usually get matting. Behind the ear. So if you have a dog that's matted, just give it a spray and gently brush out any knots behind the ear. I like to work forward on the head from the back of the head forward. So he's not really a fan of his head being dried, but we get through it. Just work from the back forwards. Get this ear. Top of his head now, and I usually kind of hook my thumb over his muzzle just to kind of guide his head down so he doesn't throw his head back while I'm brushing the top of his head and risk damaging his eyes. So just keeping my thumb lightly up here so I can direct his nose down. Start brushing out the top of the head. Same idea, little sections. Be careful when you get around the eyes. Gentle right here. And then once the top of the head is done, we'll do the cheeks and the muzzle. Just work little sections see my thumb is kind of covering his eye, so that just makes things a little bit more comfortable for him as we're working. That's the biggest part, I think, about grooming that people don't generally give a lot of thought to, is just making it as comfortable as you can make something like this for the animal. You don't want it to be, seen as something that they're afraid of, or that they hate. I mean, they probably don't love it, but at least it's tolerable if you're just gentle and recognize that certain things might not be comfortable, and trying to make it as comfortable as possible for them. Gently brushing his muzzle, his chin, and then the last part we'll do the hair right on top of his nose. And I direct the dryer so it's blowing forward from his muzzle. This is not his favorite part, so let's get it done as quickly as we can. Alright, then we'll do one last check, make sure that everything's dry, brushed out, give him a once over, and only after we feel like his entire coat has been brushed out, no knots, only then do we check with a comb. You don't want to use the comb for pulling out knots. So, I just spot here, see? Give him a once over, and then I'll grab my comb and check my web. Those asking about the dryer, it is Schernbau, and it's awesome, and I love it. And you can get it from pedigree.com. All right, so after he's all brushed, this towel is leaving us. We'll go ahead and check with a comb. So I love these really fine combs. This one, oh look, it says my name. It's really fine. It has the very fine teeth. So I use this to check and make sure everything's completely combed out. Same thing, start at the back foot, comb the toes. Make sure that you can drag this comb through every inch of this dog. If you grab little snag knots, that's fine. This stuff is okay. If you hit a big knot, do not pull. Go back to your brush, work it out with the brush. And especially when you get these really awesome, really expensive, nice combs, you don't want to use these for pulling knots because the teeth are very, very fine. And if you're using these to yank on a dog, then they're just going to bend the teeth. And if you are using a comb hard enough to bend the teeth, you're not using the comb right. So I'm just using this to check my work. Fluffing it out, I can drag this comb all the way through his hair, all the way down to his skin, very smooth, without pulling. So just gonna check all over. And for those of you who are competitive groomers, this is very, very important to do because as you know, we have to have every single knot out of the dog. And using a comb like this is usually really, really handy for making sure we have no knots in the armpits, like that one right there, which is very tiny, but he's dramatic, so don't listen to him. So since there's a little knot there, we'll just go back to the brush that area a couple times, and then try again. All right, so that's gone. But yeah, you don't want to jerk knots with combs. It's just not good on your equipment, not good on the dog, not a good idea in general. So I do both methods. I do like the kind of pick and fluff like this, and then I also do the drag to make sure that I can get completely through this coat. Comb it a couple different directions, comb it down, comb it back, comb it forwards, just to make sure that that hair is as straight and combed out as you can possibly get it. And I do this even on the pet dogs that I'm grooming. If you get in the habit of doing things the same way on every dog, be it a show dog, be it a pet dog, then it's just kind of muscle memory, and then you'll find that even your pet grooms really benefit from just a really thorough bath and dry and brush out. Okay. This glorious long tail of yours here. Okay, body's all combed out. Let's check his head. Sticky spot right there. So see, just if you hit a spot where your comb hits resistance, put the comb down, hit it with the brush a couple times. Do I ever use a hot hand dryer? I use a hot hand dryer all the time, especially if I'm at a dog show or I'm at a grooming contest. They work really well. Also, like I said, there's so many tools that you can use to get the job done. So if you arrive at the same finish, it doesn't really matter how you got there. You can use a stand dryer, force dryer, hot dryer, a combination of all three. It's really whatever gets the job done. But using a handheld dryer usually does have higher heat, and you can get a really nice fluff out on a dog if you're careful using it and not keeping it on one spot too long to burn the dog. Make sure we comb his mustache. Check behind his ears. What's a hot hand? It's just like a regular people dryer, the same thing you use to dry your hair. If you go to a dog show, you see people get really creative and they'll tuck them in the front of their shirt to blow dry. They'll kind of hold them with their shoulder to blow dry. So it's just another tool that you can use to get a really nice dry on a dog. All right, so he is pretty much prepped, all dried, combed out. We can get our fine comb all the way through this coat without hitting snags. So next up will be the trimming. So I'm going to stop this video and start a new one, and then we'll give him the haircut. So thanks guys, I'll see you in a minute.